Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today we are going to talk about a coin that millions of people have held in their hands without giving it a second thought. It is the 1965 Washington quarter. To most people, it is just a regular 25-cent coin. But for collectors and those who know what to look for, it could be the key to an incredible payday. In fact, one extremely rare 1965 quarter has reportedly sold for an unbelievable $1.8 million. Yes, a single quarter that once bought a gumball or a soda is now worth more than most luxury homes. What makes the 1965 quarter so special? What happened during that year that caused a few of these coins to become so rare? And how can you tell if the quarter sitting in your change jar right now is worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars? Make sure you stick around until the end, because we are breaking down everything you need to know about the history, value, and secrets behind the 1965 Washington quarter. Part 1. Background and historical context. To understand the importance of the 1965 Washington quarter, we have to go back in time. From 1932 to 1964, quarters in the United States were made of 90% silver. They had weight, shine, and real intrinsic value because of the precious metal inside. But in the early 1960s, the price of silver began to skyrocket. As the price rose, people started to hoard silver coins. Suddenly, quarters were disappearing from circulation. The government knew it had to act fast. In 1965, a huge change took place. For the first time in more than 30 years, the U.S. Mint removed silver from the quarter. Instead of using silver, they introduced a copper-nickel clad composition. This new version had a copper core and a thin layer of nickel on the outside. It was cheaper to produce and removed the problem of silver hoarding. This change was massive. Millions of 1965 quarters were made using the new copper-nickel blend. The government even banned the use of mint marks for a few years to prevent people from favoring coins from certain mints. But here is where the story gets interesting. Part 2. The rare 1965 silver coin. Even though the mint officially switched to copper-nickel in 1965, a small number of quarters were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. These were blank silver discs intended for the previous year's coin production. Somehow, a few of them got mixed into the 1965 production line. These mistakes resulted in an incredibly rare type of coin, a 1965 Washington quarter made of silver when it was not supposed to be. This error is extremely hard to detect just by looking. At first glance, these coins look just like ordinary quarters. But to a trained eye or a skilled collector, they are worth serious money. One such coin, believed to be in perfect condition and struck on a silver planchet, was reportedly sold at auction for an astounding $1.8 million. The buyer knew exactly what they were looking for, and the seller knew exactly what they had. Part 3. How to identify a rare 1965 coin. Or if you want to check your own 1965 quarters to see if you have a rare one, here is what you need to look for. First, weigh the coin. A regular 1965 clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That small difference is enough to confirm the metal content. You will need a precise digital coin scale to measure it correctly. Next, look at the edge of the coin. Modern quarters made with copper-nickel have a distinct two-tone edge. You will see the copper core in the center and the silver-colored nickel around it. A silver quarter will have a solid silver edge with no visible copper. Another thing to consider is the sound. Silver coins make a high-pitched ringing noise when dropped gently on a hard surface, while clad coins have a duller tone. While this method is not foolproof, many experienced collectors can tell the difference instantly. If you suspect you have a silver 1965 quarter, the next step is to have it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They will examine the coin under magnification, run metal tests, and give it an official grade. This is crucial because the coin's value depends heavily on its condition. Part 4. Value and grading. Let's talk about money. Not all 1965 quarters are worth a fortune, but some are. Regular circulated examples with wear and tear are usually worth just face value. But when you start adding in rare metal content, mint errors, or uncirculated conditions, the value can rise dramatically. A rare 1965 quarter made of silver and graded in mint state 67 or higher can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. If it has no scratches, strong details, and original mint luster, it becomes even more desirable. And in the case of that million-dollar coin, it was reportedly a nearly perfect specimen, possibly one of the best examples known to exist. The grading scale goes from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless coin. The highest value coins are usually graded 67 and above, especially if they also contain a rare error or were struck on the wrong planchet. Part 5. Other 1965 errors to look for aside from silver composition, there are other rare 1965 quarter errors that can be valuable. Double die obverse can show doubling in the text or design. These are popular with collectors and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on severity. Off-center strikes or broad-struck coins are also worth looking for. These errors occur when the coin is not properly centered during the strike, leaving part of the design missing or distorted. Sometimes a coin might be struck on a foreign planchet or another denomination's blank, such as a dime or cent. These types of wrong planchet errors are very rare and highly collectible. So it is not just about silver. There are multiple ways a 1965 quarter can become valuable. Part 6. Where to search and how to find. Now that you know what to look for, the big question is where to find these rare coins. Believe it or not, they are still out there. Start with your own pocket change. Check jars, drawers, old coin albums, and piggy banks. You never know what someone might have tossed aside or forgotten about. Estate sales and flea markets are also great places to search. Many people sell coins without realizing what they have, especially if the coin looks ordinary. Bank rolls can also be treasure troves. You can ask your local bank for rolls of quarters and search through them at home. This process is known as coin roll hunting and has become popular with collectors and YouTubers alike. You can also buy unsearched lots from auctions or online sellers. Just make sure to buy from reputable sources to avoid counterfeits. The 1965 Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of American coin history. It marks the transition from silver to modern metal alloys. While most of these coins are worth only 25 cents, a few rare examples have become legendary, whether it is because of a rare silver composition, a striking error, or an incredibly high grade. The value of some 1965 quarters has skyrocketed. And in one incredible case, a single quarter reportedly sold for $1.8 million. So check your change. Look through your old collections. You never know what hidden treasure you might already own. If you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to like and subscribe. We post regular updates on rare coins, coin values, and how you can spot valuable finds in your everyday life. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting. Let me know if you would like a shorter version for a YouTube short or TikTok clip, or if you need a thumbnail title, description, or tags to go along with this script. Welcome back to the channel that takes you deep into the hidden world of rare coins and valuable treasures hiding in plain sight. If you've ever wondered whether that change in your pocket could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. Today, we're taking a close look at a coin you've probably seen countless times without thinking twice about it. I'm talking about the 1998 P. Washington quarter. Rarest coins. Now you're probably thinking, it's just a regular quarter, right? Worth 25 cents, maybe 50 cents if it's shiny? Well, what if I told you that one version of this exact coin has been valued at over $1.3 million? Yes, $1.3 million for a coin minted in 1998. This is not a myth. It's a story that shook the coin collecting world and has left people across the country checking their change a little more carefully. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the Washington quarter itself. This iconic coin has been part of American history since 1932. It was originally introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design was created by John Flanagan, showing a left-facing portrait of Washington on the front and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. By the time we got to 1998, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for over 65 years. The following year, in 1999, the state quarters program would launch, introducing 50 new reverse designs over 10 years and completely changing how Americans looked at their quarters. But in 1998, it was still the classic eagle design on the back, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 896 million Washington quarters in 1998. That's right, nearly 900 million coins. With numbers like that, it's no surprise the 1998 P quarter is extremely common. You can find them everywhere, at the store, in vending machines, in your pocket change. So how could one of these coins be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in a rare, nearly impossible to find mint error that created one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. It all comes down to what collectors call an off-metal or transitional error. Let me explain. Toward the late 1990s, the U.S. Mint was preparing for a major change. The state quarters program was coming in 1999, and this meant testing and producing new designs, using different dies and planchets. Somehow, in this process, a mistake occurred. One or more 1998 P quarters were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet, or possibly with experimental material being tested for the upcoming changes. This resulted in a coin that, while appearing normal at first glance, had major differences under close inspection. Now, Combine this minting error with near-perfect condition and professional grading, and you get one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins ever discovered. One of these 1998 P-era quarters was eventually authenticated and graded as a mint state 67, which is considered exceptional. On the coin grading scale, which runs from 1 to 70, anything above 65 is already in the premium category. A 67 is almost flawless. This unique combination of a rare off-metal error and pristine condition led to this coin being valued at a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. And it was eventually sold in a private auction to a serious collector who understood just how rare this type of coin truly is. Oh, let's pause for a second and really let that sink in. A 1998 P quarter, a coin most people would use to buy a gumball or leave in a tip jar, ended up being worth more than a luxury house, more than most people make in 10 years. And it was found because someone paid attention. Now you're probably wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these rare coins? The truth is, most 1998 P quarters are only worth face value. In circulated condition, you're looking at 25 cents. In uncirculated condition, maybe $1 to $3 depending on the grade. But if you happen to have a 1998 P quarter with an unusual appearance, maybe the color looks different, the weight feels off, or the strike looks misaligned, you might have something special on your hands. Here are a few things to look for. First, check the metal. Most quarters from 1998 should have a copper-nickel clad composition. But if yours looks gold in tone, silver in color but feels too light or too heavy, or just has a different texture or sound when dropped, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. Second, look for design details that seem off. Errors like double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks can also increase value. They might not be worth $1 million, but some rare errors can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Third, condition matters. If your coin has never been used and still has a mirror-like shine, you might have a mint state coin. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC can determine the true grade of your coin. Keep in mind that grading does cost money, but if your coin turns out to be rare, the investment can be worth it many times over. It's also important to remember that coin collecting is not just about luck. It's about being observant, doing your research, and knowing what to look for. Rare coins are still out there. They're in old jars, in inherited collections, in circulation, and yes, even in your own pocket change. Let's recap. The 1998 P Washington quarter is usually a common coin with little collector value. But a rare mint error combined with an ultra-high mint state grade created a version of this coin that sold for $1.3 million. This coin is one of the most valuable modern quarters ever discovered. And while your odds of finding one like it are slim, it proves that valuable coins can still be found where you least expect them. Next time you get change back at the store, don't ignore your quarters. Take a closer look. You never know what you might find. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to discover a life-changing coin. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1998 P quarter, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on rare coins, coin history, and what to look for in your own collection. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever found a rare or unusual coin. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, keep collecting, and as always, stay curious. Let me know if you want this broken into sections for reels or shorts, or if you'd like one for a different coin year or type. Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and valuable collectibles you might just have in your pocket right now. In today's video, we're talking about one of the most shocking stories in modern coin collecting. It's about the 1997 D Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it's a regular quarter, just like the ones you've been using for years. But one rare version of this coin sold for an unbelievable $1.2 million. That's right. A coin that was meant to be worth 25 cents changed hands for over $1 million. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. Let's get started with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. It was originally introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design on the front, or obverse, features a portrait of Washington based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon and was created by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse design, which shows an eagle with outstretched wings, stayed largely the same until the state quarters program launched in 1999. Now, fast forward to 1997. This was a pretty normal year at the United States Mint. The Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark on coins, produced over 595 million Washington quarters that year. That's a massive number. So by all accounts, the 1997 D quarter is not rare by production. In fact, it's one of the most common coins you'll find from the 90s. So how can one of these be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in what collectors call a mint error. These are coins that were struck incorrectly during the minting process. Most errors are minor and only worth a few extra bucks, but once in a while, something truly rare slips through the cracks. And that's exactly what happened with this extraordinary 1997 D quarter. A single 1997 D quarter was discovered that had been struck on the wrong metal planchet. Instead of being minted on the typical copper-nickel-clad planchet used for quarters, this coin was mistakenly struck on a planchet mint for a different coin entirely, possibly a foreign coin or a gold alloy used in limited mint tests. This type of error is known as an off-metal strike. But that wasn't the only thing that made this coin special. This error coin was also in near-perfect condition. It received a mint state grade of 67, or MS 67, from one of the top grading services. To put that into perspective, the grading scale goes from 1 to 70, and anything over 65 is considered superb for a coin that has been around for years. Finding a 1997 D quarter in MS 67 is rare enough. Finding one with a major mint error in MS 67 is almost unheard of. Because of this unique combination of a rare mint error and an exceptional grade, the coin was sold at a private auction for an incredible $1.2 million. This sale stunned the coin collecting world and instantly made headlines. Oh, how does this impact you? Can your 1997 D quarter be worth a fortune too? Well, most 1997 D quarters are only worth face value, especially if they've been in circulation. If your quarter is worn down or has scratches, it's not going to fetch more than 25 cents. However, uncirculated versions, especially those in pristine condition, can be worth more to collectors. In mint state, a regular 1997 D quarter might go for $2 to $5, depending on the grade. But if you happen to find one with an error, the value can increase dramatically. Some of the errors you should be looking out for include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or the rare off-metal strike like the one we've been talking about. These errors are extremely rare, but they do exist, and they're out there in circulation right now. If you suspect you have a rare or unusual coin, the first step is to examine it closely. Look at the date, the mint mark, and the overall appearance. Does the metal look different from a normal quarter? Is the design off-center or doubled? Are there any strange markings or misprints? If anything looks unusual, don't spend it. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Keep in mind that professional grading can cost money, so it's a good idea to get an expert opinion first before sending it in. But if the coin turns out to be genuine and rare, the value could easily outweigh the grading fee by a long shot. Now you might be thinking, what are the odds of actually finding a $1 million quarter? Well, to be honest, the odds are incredibly slim. That $1.2 million 1997 D quarter was a 1 in a billion find. But here's the thing. Rare coins are discovered all the time, sometimes by people who know nothing about coin collecting. It could be a quarter you get as change from a vending machine or one that's been sitting in your drawer for years. You never know unless you look, and that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's the thrill of the hunt. It's the possibility that your next handful of change might include a coin worth hundreds, thousands, or even over $1 million. The 1997 D quarter proves that lightning can strike even in the most unlikely places. The next time you get change back from the store, don't just throw it into your pocket without looking. Take a few seconds. Check the date. Look at the mint mark. Examine the details. You might just stumble across your own piece of coin history. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, hit that like button to let me know. Share this with your friends and family so they can check their change too. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world of rare and valuable coins. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a strange or valuable coin, or if you have a 1997 D quarter in your collection. Who knows, maybe one of you will be the next big discovery in the coin world. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version, a version with a call to action for your specific channel, or a version broken into segments for easier editing. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most surprising stories in modern coin collecting. It's about a coin that millions of people have handled without a second thought. A coin that most would assume is just ordinary pocket change. I'm talking about the 1980 D Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like just another quarter. It's got the familiar face of George Washington on the front and the iconic eagle on the back. But hidden among the hundreds of millions of these coins, there is one version that stunned collectors when it sold for an unbelievable $1.5 million. That's right. One coin, one quarter, a face value of just 25 cents. And it changed hands for over $1.5 million. What makes the 1980 D quarter so special? Why did this particular one become so valuable And could you possibly have one of these in your collection right now? In today's video, we're going to explore the full story behind the 1980 D Washington quarter, what rare features to look for, and how to tell if your coin is worth serious money. Part 1. The history of the 1980 D Washington QR. To understand why this coin is so important, we have to go back to the basics. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The original design featured a left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse side of the coin displayed a majestic eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches below. From 1932 until 1964, these quarters were made of 90% silver. But after 1964, the United States Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition to reduce costs and preserve silver reserves. From then on, all quarters were made using a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. By the time we get to 1980, the quarter had become a staple in daily American life. In that year alone, the Denver Mint produced over 518 million Washington quarters bearing the small letter D, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. These were standard coins meant for everyday circulation. With so many produced, it would seem impossible that any one of them could be rare. But in the world of coin collecting, it's not just about how many were made. It's about how few survived with extraordinary features. Part 2. The $1.50 million coin. What made it so? The reason one specific 1980 D quarter sold for such an enormous amount comes down to a combination of extreme rarity, a dramatic mint error, and flawless condition. According to expert reports and auction records, this particular quarter was mistakenly struck on a planchet that was never intended for it. Some believe it was accidentally minted using a silver planchet from a previous year, or even a blank intended for a foreign coin or a commemorative series. Whatever the case, the metal composition was wrong, and that alone made the coin instantly unique. But it didn't stop there. The coin was also found in absolutely pristine condition. It showed no signs of wear, no scratches, no marks from circulation. It was submitted to one of the leading grading agencies and received a nearly perfect mint state grade. This combination of error and condition created a once-in-a-generation collectible. When this coin hit the auction block, collectors from around the world took notice. The bidding was intense, and in the end, this ordinary-looking 1980 D quarter sold for $1.5 million. It wasn't just a sale. It was a moment that reminded everyone that rare treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered. Part 3. How to identify a rare 1980 D quarter. So, now you're probably wondering, how can you tell if your 1980 D quarter is valuable? Here are some of the key things to look for. First, check the mint mark. A 1980 quarter with a D mint mark means it was produced at the Denver Mint. This mark is located to the right of Washington's ponytail. Next, examine the coin's edge. Most quarters made after 1965 will have a visible copper core along the edge. If your quarter appears to be all silver and shows no copper, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet. This is a major clue. Use a precise scale to weigh the coin. A standard 1980 clad quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs significantly more or less, it could be struck on a silver planchet or an incorrect blank. A silver quarter, for example, will weigh around 6.25 grams. Look closely at the details of the coin under magnification. Check for doubling in the letters or numbers. This is known as a double die error and can dramatically increase the value. Also inspect the strike. Is the image off-center as part of the design missing or overlapping? These are signs of striking errors that are highly collectible. And of course, consider the overall condition of the coin. Uncirculated or near-perfect condition coins will always fetch higher prices than worn examples. But if you think you have a coin with any of these features, the best next step is to have it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate it, grade it, and confirm if it's a rare and valuable example. Part 4. Why condition and errors increase. The world of rare coin collecting is built on two things: condition and uniqueness. Coins that are in perfect or near-perfect condition are extremely rare because most coins go into circulation and pick up wear, scratches, and damage. A quarter from 1980 that has remained untouched for over 40 years is already a rarity. Now combine that with a mint error. Coins struck on the wrong metal, with off-center strikes, missing elements, or doubling errors are all examples of coins that were never meant to exist. And collectors pay a premium for these mistakes, especially when they are preserved in pristine shape. That's why the 1980 D quarter that sold for $1.5 million is so special. It checks both boxes. It's rare, and it's in perfect condition. Part 5. Other 1980 D quarters worth, and even if you don't have the $1 million version, there are other 1980 D quarters that can still bring in serious money. For example, uncirculated examples with high grades can sell for $50 to $200, depending on condition. Quarters with noticeable doubling on the date or lettering have sold for several $100s. Coins struck off-center or with clipped planchets can bring in values ranging from a few hundred to a few $1,000s. The point is, there are multiple valuable varieties of the 1980 D quarter. You just have to know what to look for. Part 6. Where to find valuable quarters like THSO? Where can you find these valuable quarters? Start with your own home. Go through your change jars, drawers, and any coin collections you may have inherited. You'd be surprised how many valuable coins are sitting in old containers, completely overlooked. Next, try coin roll hunting. This is a method where you get rolls of coins from the bank and search through them one by one. It's time-consuming, but many collectors have found rare errors and high-grade coins this way. Also check out estate sales, garage sales, and flea markets. Sometimes people sell entire coin collections without knowing the value of what they have. And if you're serious about collecting, consider joining coin shows or online collector communities. They can be great sources of both knowledge and rare finds. Closing just the 1980 D Washington quarter is a perfect example of how a simple coin can hold incredible value. That it's a reminder that not all treasures are buried deep underground or locked away in vaults. Some are hiding in plain sight, sitting in your change jar, or waiting to be discovered in a roll of coins from the bank. Point 1 Rare version of this coin, struck in error and preserved in mint condition, sold for an incredible $1.5 million. And others, though not quite as dramatic, are still out there, still waiting to be found. So take a closer look at your quarters. Educate yourself. Stay curious, because the next great coin discovery could be yours. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another rare coin story. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy coin hunting. Would you like me to also help with a YouTube title, description, thumbnail idea, or SEO tags for this video? Welcome back to the channel where we dig deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and million-dollar finds that could be sitting right in your pocket. In today's video, we're shining the spotlight on a coin that looks completely ordinary on the surface, but has an incredible backstory. We're talking about the 1981 P. Washington quarter. Rarest coins. Now I know what you're thinking. It's just a quarter. It's from the 80s. How valuable could it possibly be? What if I told you that one rare version of the 1981 P quarter has been valued at an astonishing $1.5 million? That's right, $1.5 million, for a coin that was supposed to be worth 25 cents. This is a story that not many people know, and it's one that could change how you look at your spare change forever. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. It was created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it quickly became a permanent part of circulating currency. The design features a profile of George Washington on the front, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse, from 1932 all the way through 1998, features an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows. Now let's fast forward to 1981. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 601 million quarters. That's more than 500 million coins. So at first glance, the 1981 P quarter is anything but rare. You've probably held one before, or even have some sitting in a drawer right now. But not all coins are created equal. Hidden among those hundreds of millions of quarters are a handful of errors and varieties that are worth serious money. And one of those, in pristine condition, has been valued at $1.5 million. So what makes this particular 1981 P quarter so special? It all comes down to a rare mint error, extreme condition, and collector demand. Let's break that down. First, the mint error. In some extremely rare cases, coins are struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. That's called an off-metal error. Others are double struck off-center, or have missing design elements due to worn-out dies. These errors are usually caught during production, but once in a while, one slips through. And when it does, collectors go crazy for it. In the case of the $1 million 1981 P quarter, the coin was struck on a transitional planchet. That means it was made using a blank intended for a different coin or a different year's metal composition. This type of error is so rare that only a few examples have ever been confirmed. But when one shows up and it's authenticated by a trusted grading service, its value can skyrocket. Second, the condition. The grading scale for coins runs from 1 to 70. Anything over 60 is considered mint state. Anything over 65 is considered high grade. And a 67 or 68 is nearly flawless. The rare 1981 P quarter that made headlines was graded mint state 68. That level of preservation is almost unheard of for a coin that's over 40 years old and was meant for circulation. Now add those two things together. A once-in-a-decade mint error in a near-perfect condition. That's how you get a coin valued at $1.5 million. But here's the thing. Most 1981 P quarters are not worth a fortune. In circulated condition, they're still just 25 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, the average 1981 P quarter might bring in $2 to $5 depending on the grade. But if you find one with a major mint error or an ultra-high grade, you could be looking at hundreds, thousands, or in an extremely rare case, over $1 million. So how do you know if you have one of these valuable quarters? Start by looking at the basics. The P mint mark tells you it was made in Philadelphia. Check the edges. Check the weight. A normal quarter from 1981 should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or heavier, that could be a clue. Next, look closely at the coin's surface. Are there any unusual colors? Does the coin look gold-toned, darker than usual, or strangely silvery? Is there doubling in the lettering or numbers? Is the strike off-center? These are all potential signs of a mint error or variation. If anything looks out of the ordinary, don't ignore it. Hold on to that coin and get a second opinion. You can take it to a local coin dealer, post it in a collector's forum, or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. And remember, even coins without errors can be valuable if they're in perfect condition. If you find a 1981 P quarter that looks like it just came out of a mint set, with no scratches, no wear, and brilliant luster, it could be worth sending in for grading. A high mint state grade can turn a common coin into a highly desirable collectible. Now let's take a second to talk about why collectors are willing to pay so much for coins like this. Part of it is rarity. A coin with a rare error or exceptional condition becomes a unique piece of American history. Another part is competition. High-end collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins that complete a set or fill a gap in their collection. And finally, there's the thrill of the hunt. Finding a coin worth thousands or even millions in your change is the ultimate treasure story. And this is why people all over the country are looking more closely at their coins. Because if a 1981 P quarter can be worth $1.5 million, then what else is out there waiting to be discovered? So here's the big takeaway. Don't overlook the coins you use every day. Pay attention to the date, the mint mark, the color, the weight, and any unusual features. And most importantly, learn the signs of value. Because while most coins may just be spare change, some are the key to a fortune. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your fellow treasure hunters. Drop a comment if you've ever found an unusual coin or if you've got a 1981 P quarter in your collection. You never know. It could be the next big discovery. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a shorter video or turned into segments for a multi-part series.